I was born actually in Putney, London, Southwest 15. I was raised in Putney where my parents lived the whole time I was there. What happens in secondary education in England, you begin at age 11 till the age of 15 or 16 when you do what's called the O-level examinations. There were only 25 universities in the whole of Great Britain. So we were a very small minority at the time of those people who went to university after secondary school. I had good enough grades and I did that. But then you had to focus on 3 or 4 subjects alone, which meant the time my age, from 16 on, I was focusing on languages and literature, and I didn't do any sciences. I did do some math because I had to change my course at one point, but I never did any sciences beyond the age of 16, which frankly is a bad idea. So I went to university from Emmanuel School. I went to King's College, Cambridge, and studied French and Russian there. While I was in Moscow University, I met this American lady who was there on the American exchange, and we fell in love and we got married. After I finished up at Cambridge, I realized that she had a job and I didn't. So I started the process of trying to get to America. A short time before I left, I had a television, and I vaguely remember a couple of American films that I'd seen, or American series. The Lone Ranger was one of my favorites, for example, and the Cisco Kid. I used to watch that on television with my cousin. So my impressions of America were very sort of cowboy and Indian type of impressions. My parents, they took some time to get used to the idea that one, I was moving to America, and two, that I had married an American. My impression of the United States was this was a country where people came to from different countries all over the world, but if you worked hard, even if you had 2 jobs, you could make a really good living for yourself. And I'll never forget when I arrived in Middle Lane, and these 2 gigantic trucks, bigger than any truck I'd ever seen before in my life, began to converge into the same lane, and this car we were in was about to get squished. So my wife slammed on the brakes, and the trucks sort of came together in parallel lanes, and we decided to go around the trucks. But I was terrified at the time. I got the shock of my life the first morning I woke up in Philadelphia when I first arrived there, and being, with the time change and so on, I woke up very early, and I walked into the kitchen to see what there was, if there was coffee or something I could drink. And there was my brother-in-law, my wife's youngest brother, and he was standing in the middle of the kitchen. He had a can of Coca-Cola in one hand and a raw onion in the other hand, and that was his breakfast.